Hello, everybody. This is Richard from Turn the Page Distribution. I'm joined today by Diana K. Robinson. Thank you very much for joining me, Diana.
Thank you for interviewing me.
It's an absolute pleasure. And today we're going to be talking about your book called Don't Blame Me. So before we jump into the questions, I wondered if you could just give us a little quick overview as to what the book is about.
This is my debut novel, and it was a very hard write, being a debut novel, and based on a true story of a very dear friend of mine. So it basically covers her life story, and it was a very difficult life story. She was like me, raised on a farm in the Free State, had quite an idyllic upbringing, but she lost her father young, like I lost my mother young. So we had that connection, and we understood each other because we were both farmy types. But then she fell in love with what turned out to be an absolute monster. And so she thought she'd married her fairy tale dream man, but it turned into a horror story. And it's an incredible story. It really is quite... well, one of the reviewers said this isn't a book, it's a lesson to ladies who know how to help them get out of horrific situations in bad marriages.
Yes, a guide to everybody as well as being a good read. So I know that you interviewed the lady in the book who is you called Elizabeth in the book, I believe. That's not a real name.
No. Yeah.
Okay. How did you decide which aspects to put in and which to leave out?
That was a very difficult one because I actually, going through all her journals and sitting with her for 4 days with my laptop on my lap, I realized there wasn't anything that I should leave out. So I didn't. It is virtually 85–90% based on the truth. And I've just fluffed it out with a little literary license.
Yes. Great. And so was there a particular moment in her life that served as the turning point within the book that shaped the themes and the messages within the book?
There are quite a few, but in the initial stages, when she actually realizes that she's married this man who is a sociopath and alcoholic and a liar, and the worst possible scenario you can come up with. But because she is such a wonderful woman and still is today, she decided that she had to try and help him get over all of these addictions. And it just became a spiral that was very ugly. And then, I think one of the turning points was his affair, or his beginnings of affairs. He had endless ones. And then when he was also fired from all sorts of jobs. One year he had like 9 jobs.
Wow.
So, I don't want to give away too much, but it is really, it's frightening, but it's and I suppose the reader might get a bit frustrated with her kindness and her desires to always help him through troubled times, but the troubled times just got worse and worse and worse.
So, how did you find the balance between writing about this very real personal life and then crafting the compelling narrative around it? How was that balance?
Oh, it was a difficult one. It really was, especially being a debut novelist. I mean, I've not had any training. I've done a course on writing, but I haven't done, other than writing for magazines and things, I haven't done an awful lot of professional writing. Well, I hadn't done any until then. But her story inspired me so much, and I employed her. So we'd sit and chat at lunch hours and things like that. And I just said to her one day, the world has to know about your story. She said, well, you're a writer. Why don't you do it? So I said, well, I'm not really a writer, but I'll take on a challenge. And that's how it all came to be.
Wonderful. And did she resist sharing anything with you, or was she very open?
Oh, she was absolutely open. Those 4 days I referred to where I sat with her, we cried, we laughed, we drank an awful lot of coffee and wine and ate kilos of biltong as we sat. But she let it all out and let it all go, and she was as honest as she experienced it, and that really helped with the emotion of the writing. But it's I mean, writing any book is a challenge, and it's difficult to you're inclined to so easily tell the story instead of show it.
Yes, exactly. That's one thing that anybody will tell you, is you must show rather than tell.
Yeah.
So and what do you hope that readers will take away from this story?
Well, I hope it will be a message to women who are trapped in horrible relationships, whether they be married or just with a partner. There are ways to get out of it, and there are many people nowadays that are there to help, and it's learning to express oneself and not be frightened to do it. There is support. There is far more support in this century than there ever was in the 70s, where Elizabeth found herself.
Yes, definitely. Well, it sounds like a thoroughly interesting book, and it is available at Exclusive Books. And if you'd like any more information, you can drop me an email on info@turnthepage.co.za. Diana, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today. Is there anything you'd like to add before we leave it for the day?
No, thank you. I just hope that with it being International Women's Day tomorrow across the world, that you go out as a woman and grab a copy of that book and be absolutely trapped in your bed or your couch for days.
Definitely. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Diana.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you. Okay.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.